Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Since I have not been able to upload for about a month, I wasn't able to get to this review until about now, but I figured, what the heck, better late than never. So I won't be putting too much editing as I usually do into this, especially since I want to try to avoid any more copyright strikes, since that was a gigantic debacle and put me out for a month of not being able to upload any videos. But here we go. This chapter starts off like right away with kind of explaining a little bit more in detail what the Angels' rules are, and I thought that was pretty interesting, although it seems to be like their rules about helping mortals is like, it seems like there's some pretty interesting loopholes that you can do. Like, Whis is training Goku and Vegeta. Oh, but I'm only doing it for the food on Earth. That it is very important that you, Grand Priest, understand that that's the only reason I'm doing this. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And yes, it is revealed that Maris is an angel that the Grand Priest is training, but he is getting dangerously close to that line of actual helping and actual being an active helper, trying to train Goku to tap into Ultra Instinct instead of what Whis has been doing, which is for his own personal benefit of, they have connections to this food, so that's why I'm training them, but Maris is training them to defeat Moro. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and Whis goes to Maris a little bit later and grabs him. But before we get to that part, we get to probably, I would say, my favorite part of the chapter, which is Vegeta training on Yardrat and the subsequent attack on Yardrat by Moro's men. And it's really cool, and I kind of had predicted this, that whilst training, that he would learn the techniques or become stronger at a faster rate than Goku did while he was on Yardrat, and not necessarily because we think that he's better than Goku, but because it's more convenient for the time, for the plot, and we need him to get there for the plot revolving around him to go forward, and we only have like what is it, 2 months or something like that. And it's interesting because Vegeta actually mentions this. He's like, well, of course I'm doing this faster because we two Saiyans aren't cut from the same cloth. I am an elite Saiyan warrior. And that is such like a Vegeta thing to say when it comes to like his pride in himself. And although I don't necessarily like the fact that he still is like, gets upset whenever Goku does something good or gets a power up or whatever, it's kind of old by now. I still will admit that he still has that pride to him, for himself. Sorry. So we move on to not Zarbon attacking the Yardrats, and I loved that this was like the same species as Zarbon. It's a major callback to the Namek Saga, and who better to obliterate him than Vegeta? And this is when we get that really satisfying moment that shows off Vegeta's increase, even though the dude warns Vegeta, hey, take it easy, you're still in training, and you basically, you don't understand how much you've increased right now. And Vegeta's just like, hey, you know what, you're not gonna contact Moro, not on my watch. And he just points his finger and this giant energy blast goes, and he's just freaking such a comedic, like this panel with the dude like all charred up like a Looney Tunes character is so funny. And now he's not all beautiful, So this whole scene of Vegeta just knocking the crap out of these guys, he is like Yardrat's protector now. And this is Vegeta. Vegeta is a hero now. I'm really, really liking how this arc is portraying him and growing his character even farther. Because, where do you take him after the Buu Saga, after he, tries to atone for his Majin Vegeta self? Well, you know what? You just keep going. You keep going. And now he is just a full-on good guy. He has the attitude. He still has the pride and the attitude, but he's like, you know what? You guys aren't going to do anything to these Yardrats. I'm going to stop you because I'm a good guy. So definitely my favorite part of the chapter. And I especially loved how the Zarbon dude picks up a building and just hucks it at Vegeta. And it actually reminded me, if anybody's familiar with the X-Men animated series, it actually reminded me of the episode where Colossus is fighting the Juggernaut, where they're like throwing buses and crap at each other. And I'm pretty sure Juggernaut actually throws a building at Colossus, but I could be wrong about that. But during the entirety of the Dragon Ball saga, I have wanted so badly for somebody to pick up a building and throw it at him. Or anyone. It's so cool. And of course he's transformed. So like, do all of these Zarbon species guys transform? Or is it just like a select few? We'll probably never know. And Vegeta just taps the building away. That is insane. And the dude grabs like this Frieza looking ship, hucks it at Vegeta, and he just kicks it away. No big deal. God, this is such a rad scene, and like such cool action. It's a really good balance with the last scene. The last scene was a lot of dialogue and explanation of things, and now we get onto some explanation and action, and that's really, really satisfying. And then the chapter is kind of bookended by going back to the Whis stuff, and I really enjoy how this chapter was paced in that way. Like, you start with Whis talking about Maris and all that stuff, and then you have this really interesting action middle, and what we really needed was some catch up with Vegeta, because he hasn't really been in the last couple chapters all that much. And then we have the bookend of finishing up the Maris story, which, speaking of the Maris story, I kind of feel like this, it's probably not the end to his story, I'm assuming, but his character has been such a mystery for who he is, what his deal is, what his motivations are, and everything like that. And then boom, in this one chapter, okay, we're just gonna spell it out and explain it. I feel like it didn't really give us that much time to really soak it in and feel the catharsis of finally knowing what his deal is, but I really hope that it's expanded on in future chapters, because I think that's really interesting stuff. Although if an angel such as Maris does get involved, I wonder how they could possibly avoid being eradicated. But anyway, Whis goes and teleports Goku and Maris outside of the time chamber, and it is unclear yet if Goku has actually learned how to tap into Ultra Instinct. I'm willing to bet that he has tapped into like a pseudo Ultra Instinct mode, where it's not quite there, but he can almost feel it to a certain degree, and of course that would give him a major advantage. And so Whis comes and he's like, okay, you know what, you were planning on fighting Moro, weren't you, Maris? And he's like, oh, you knew? So Whis came in there and stopped him right before he actually crossed the line into being an active participant in the affairs of the mortals, instead of just training, so I thought that was interesting. Maris in that outfit looked kind of weird. He looked kind of funny, to be honest. But I don't know if that was just me. So, what do you think? Do you guys think that Goku has tapped into Ultra Instinct or Pseudo Ultra Instinct like I think? But overall a really good chapter. I don't really have many nitpicks, to be honest, that I can think of right now, but I guess that kind of ties up my thoughts. And the last thing in the chapter is Goku freaking out because he doesn't know how to pilot the ship. I'm like, hey, just remember your driving lessons with Piccolo. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have instant transmission. He could just teleport to King Kai's, probably, or feel out some sort of energy signature from somewhere. But he doesn't need to fly this spaceship. He could just use instant transmission. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, especially since this video is so late. I really appreciate it. And as always, take it easy.